pledges to deepen cultural collaborations with local international partners. Federal government advocates urgent flood action. On the foreign scene, Gabon swears in former military leader Brice Nguema as president. And in sport, Nigeria's boxing heavyweight Efe Ajagba draws Congolese counterpart Martin Bakole in Saudi Arabia's bout. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. The Lagos State government has reaffirmed its commitment to fostering cultural development through strategic collaborations with both local and international stakeholders. Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Toke Benson Awoyinka, stated this during a courtesy visit by the co-founder and managing director of IGA Nigeria Limited, Bolaho Ajala, who also serves as a heritage consultant to the state government. Benson Awoyinka, who acknowledged the alignment between the ministry's ongoing initiatives and the vision of the visiting team, expressed enthusiasm about potential collaborations in areas such as museums, archives, and cultural exhibitions. She highlighted government-backed programs such as Talent Hunt and creative capacity building initiatives like Lagos Creative Initiatives, LACI, all aimed at nurturing young creative talent across the state. On his part, the permanent secretary in the ministry, Olanrewaju Bajulaye, who expressed strong support for the proposed partnerships, emphasized the ministry's dedication to leveraging such collaborations to further position Lagos as a premier cultural and creative hub. Cluster coordinator for the Africa-Europe Partnership for Culture, Toluwanimi Owolano, introduced a European Union-funded project that supports festival producers across 6 West African countries, including Nigeria, saying Lagos holds a central position in this initiative. In a significant stride towards achieving universal health coverage, UHC, and ensuring no resident is left behind, the Lagos State Health Management Agency, LASHMA, has introduced 20 National Health Fellows, NHFS, as dedicated Ilera co-champions. This strategic move harnesses the energy and vision of young leaders to bolster the state's health insurance scheme. The permanent secretary of LASHMA, Emmanuel Azamba, who congratulated the newly appointed fellows, urged them to embody the values of both the National Health Fellows Program, NHFP, and the Ilera Eco Initiative, serving as exemplary ambassadors in their crucial roles. Zamba lauded the federal government for establishing the NHFP, affirming that this inclusive approach would empower the young leaders to become active participants in the implementation of the governor's executive order, thereby advancing the state's healthcare system. She expressed confidence that their involvement would also significantly strengthen the healthcare system, particularly at the grassroots level. In commemoration of International Firefighters Day, the Fire Protection Association of Nigeria, FPAN, has called for the government to go into strategic partnership with fire services in order to better cope with emergency and disaster risks. FPAN President Shehu Dambata, who made this call, reported that in 2024, the country recorded over 100 fire-related deaths and a loss estimated at 67.1 billion naira in property. Dambata noted that irrespective of the occurrences, firefighters were able to respond to them with glaring inadequacies in staffing, obsolete equipment, and lack of platform for training and continuous professional development. He urged for the acknowledgement of their unwavering efforts and sacrifice in the midst of disaster, adding that in the year under review, 30,000 lives saved, as well as property estimated to be worth 1.94 trillion naira. In a related development, Nigerians have been urged to recognize and celebrate the immense sacrifices of the country's firefighters, who continue to put their lives on the line despite limited resources and significant risks. In a message to commemorate the 2025 International Firefighters Day, a fellow of the Fire Protection Association of Nigeria, FPAN, Amodu Shakiru, emphasized the bravery, dedication, and humanitarian service of firefighters across Nigeria. Shakiru also drew attention to long-term health risks firefighters face, noting that their mortality rate from cancer is 1.6 times higher than the general population. As part of the observance, he encouraged Nigerians to visit their local fire stations, express gratitude to firefighters, and acknowledge their courage through simple acts of kindness. International Firefighters Day, observed annually on May 4, was established in 1999 in memory of 5 firefighters who died battling a wildfire in Australia. The date was chosen to coincide with the feast day of Saint Florian, the patron saint of firefighters and one of the earliest known commanders of a firefighting unit in the Roman Empire. Now to the rest of the stories. The federal government has called for the promotion of a flood-resilient environment across the country to prevent the dangers associated with flooding. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Environment, Mahmoud Kambari, made the call during the 2025 National Flood Awareness Campaign in Yanya, Abuja. Kambari, who was represented by the Director of Erosion, Flood and Coastal Zone Management, Usman Bokani, said the flood awareness campaign is not merely an event, but a movement towards a safer and more sustainable future. He noted that flooding remains one of Nigeria's most frequent and destructive natural disasters, which has displaced thousands, damaged infrastructure, and disrupted economic activities. Kambari advised citizens to avoid indiscriminate waste disposal, avoid building on waterways and floodplains, comply with town planning regulations, pay attention to early warnings, evacuate when instructed, and report illegal environmental practices. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has reiterated that airline passengers are entitled to ticket refunds within 14 days of flight cancellation in accordance with its consumer protection regulations. Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection at the NCAA, Michael Achimugu, emphasized that the regulatory body is committed to safeguarding passenger rights. The reminder comes amid growing public complaints over frequent flight delays and cancellations by most Nigerian domestic carriers. Achimugu, who clarified that not all disruptions are the airline's fault, noted that the NCAA has advised operators to cut down on routes when aircraft availability is limited, rather than overselling tickets for flights they may not be able to honor. He warned that airlines failing to adjust their operations accordingly or repeatedly breaching consumer protection regulations would face stiffer penalties this year. The federal government has resolved to complete the 284-kilometer Kano-Jigawa-Katsina-Maradi railway project by 2026. President Bola Tinubu announced this in Katsina State when he inaugurated the State Agricultural Mechanization Center and a 24-kilometer eastern bypass located at Tasha Bala area of the state. Tinubu said the railway line project, which connects Kano State in Nigeria's northwest region to Maradi in neighboring Niger Republic, will ease transportation of persons and goods in the region, thereby reducing the pressure on Nigerian roads if completed. He also announced that the federal government has awarded contracts for the total rehabilitation of Mataba, Kankara, Dusima, Katsina Road, and Zaria, Hunkuyi, Dabai, as well as Kafuru, Malumfashi, Dayi, Gidan, Mutum, Daya roads. President Tinubu added that the second phase of the Katsina-Kano road is firmly on course, stating that the federal government has resolved the previous technical and bureaucratic challenges and work is ongoing on the road. And now to foreign news, Bryce Nguema, who led a coup in Gabon ending decades of Bongo family rule and swept the election last month with nearly 95% of the vote, has been sworn in as the country's president. The general and former military government leader who toppled Ali Bongo in August 2023 officially took the presidential reins on Saturday when or after leading a 90-month transition government. The inauguration at Angonje Stadium in the north of capital Libreville drew some 40,000 supporters and was attended by more than 20 African heads of state. Nguema, who is 50 years old, has promised a departure from the dynastic politics of the past. Now, sport. Nigerian boxing heavyweight Ife Ajagwa's fight with Congolese contender Martin Bakole has ended in dramatic majority draw in the much anticipated bout in Saudi Arabia. After 10 intense rounds at the ANB Arena in Riyadh, the judges scored the contest 95-95, 94-95 and 95-95, with one judge narrowly favoring Ajagwa while the other two called it even. For Bakole, it was a shot at redemption after a crushing second-round knockout loss to Joseph Parker earlier this year. Meanwhile, Ajagwa sought to extend his impressive winning streak of 5 fights following his sole professional defeat to Frank Sanchez in October 2021. The 30-year-old boxer entered the ring with a formidable record of 20 wins, 14 by knockout and 1 loss. His recent performances, including a dominant victory over Guido Vianello last April, underscored his determination. And that ends our news at 10. Just before we go, stay alive. Make use of pedestrian bridges where available. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs live on YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, 280 youths were trained in solar farm construction? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, try the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Government has reaffirmed its commitment to fostering cultural development through strategic collaborations with both local and international stakeholders. The federal government has called for the promotion of a flood-resilient environment across the country to prevent the dangers associated with flooding. We also told you that Bryce Nguema, who led a coup in Gabon ending decades of Bongo family rule and swept the election last month with nearly 95% of the vote, has been sworn in as the country's president. And in sport, Nigerian boxing heavyweight Ife Ajagwa's fight with Congolese contender Martin Bakole has ended in dramatic majority draw in the much anticipated bout in Saudi Arabia. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. That is news broadcast compiled by Adewale Ilokoroku. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.